I will do my best to tell the truth and not be a secretive Scorpio. I will try. Anyway, this is a Q&A video that is made for my Instagram followers. I asked a lot of you what you would like to know about me or about my work process. If there's a question that I didn't get to and you don't see your username featured in the video, it's just because other people have asked a similar question and I hope I'm able to answer it in one go. So, first question is, how many zines have you made? Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know. It's a lot. What kind of printer do you use? I have 3 printers, but the one I recommend is the Epson EcoTank. If you want to know a little bit more about that printer, check out my last video called How I Run My Small Biz. How much money did you save before going full-time with art? Don't follow my lead. Don't do as I say, do as I... Oh wait, no. Don't do what I do. Do what I say? Actually, don't listen to me. I'm not qualified for anything. I had $600 to my name, and then I spent $400 of that on this iPad, and then the rest of that money, plus a little bit of my credit cards, I used to buy an Apple Pencil. And I don't know how I paid rent the following month. I don't know how I scrounged it together because my parents didn't help me with rent. The person I was living with at the time didn't help me with rent. I think my Etsy was just popping. I think I just worked my ass off trying to get a little bit of funds because I had just quit my job and I didn't do the traditional like save $5,000 or save 10K. I was raw dogging it. I was taking a huge gamble, so do with that what you will. What topics do you want to see more of in zines? I would love to see more people of color make zines about their experiences going into non-traditional careers, because what I do is super non-traditional to my family, and I was the first person to go to college in my whole entire family, so they really wanted me to go into something that was going to be financially stable. And when for as long as I could remember, I'm like, I want to be an artist, and they freaked out and we fought a lot, and I got kicked out at one point, and we had a lot of fights about it. And not to say I'm financially stable now, but my parents see how happy art makes me and how I'm able to make a living off of it. They're really excited to see me keep growing as an artist, so I would love to see other people that have similar lifestyles or similar backgrounds as me make zines about their experiences, because it makes me feel less alone, and I love that kind of community. What books are you currently reading? Right now I'm rereading The Art of Loving by Eric Froman. Favorite zinesters, Netta Bomani. They make incredible zines that incorporate technology and Black history, and if you saw my first video, the zine tour, they made that zine they made that teabag zine. Incredible. Second favorite zinester right now is Radia Rahman. I'm not sure if they're exclusively a zine artist, but they do make zines about their cat Cooney, and I actually bought a couple of their zines. I'm super excited for them to come in the mail. I'm like really tracking that USPS tracking number. I can't wait to read those. Do you have your zines selling in any shop? What shops are good to sell at if so? I have them in a couple of shops. One is called Element of Fun in Rochester, New York. Page Against the Machine, which is a bookstore in downtown Long Beach. Alien Artifacts, which is a cool, funky, like thrift store that holds modern pop culture stuff and then also vintage clothing and toys. And then I have my zines in some vending machines. The company is called Moonlight Vending, and the owner, Katie, is so sweet, and they have like, I think 5 or 6 machines right now all over Long Beach. They place them in the airport, in bars, in local businesses. They're all over. They specialize in putting local artists in the vending machines. So not only will you find my zines, you can find like stickers, you can find socks, you can find enamel pins, tote bags, really cool stuff. So what shops are good to sell at if so? I think to be broad and general, I would definitely consider trying to get your zines to sell in bookstores, because they understand that publishing aspect a little bit more. Also, like, your zines are going to be in a bookstore, so people are there to read, so that's pretty cool. They'll most likely pick up a zine. Where are you based, if you don't mind sharing, of course? I'm based in Long Beach, California. My art is a lot of places, but primarily in Long Beach. Which fictional TV character do you relate to the most and why? I would probably say Erin from The Office, because she's so oblivious and in her own little world, and she's happy. Everybody else sees her as crazy or ditzy, but she's just living her life. And I think that's what's most important. You gotta live your life. Where did you get that small gold frog statue? So I have a golden frog that is meditating right in front of my television. And the reason I keep him there is because when I'm stressed out or just really overwhelmed with life or work or my social life, I just look over at that frog and I'm like, look at how serene he looks and look at how peaceful he is. I want to be like that. And then it reminds me to meditate. Next thing you know, I'm meditating. I'm on the living room floor, cross-legged, palms open to the sky, meditating. So, oh yeah, that's not what you asked. You asked where did I get it? I got it from World Market. Favorite shows to watch, current song faves, fave places in LBC. Fave shows to watch, The Office and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Those are my comfort shows. Songs I'm listening to right now are, I don't know, I would say Good Looking by that, I forget the artist's name. Something Suki, and it's trending on TikTok. I listen to that song all the time. Fave places in Long Beach, I think my favorite place is downtown Long Beach. What are some of your future plans / goals, work life and personal life? In my work life, some of my future goals are to be financially stable. I don't come from money and my parents worked their ass off to get me all the privileges I have today, so I want to become financially stable doing something that I love so I can retire them and then they can have the life they never had. I just want to give back to them in that way, but I don't want to have to suffer to get there. I want to do some suffering that I think is worth it, which is working really hard on my small shop and my art and hopefully being able to make money that way. Like, I'm not embarrassed to say that I want to be financially stable doing this. I want to be a successful independent artist, and a big reason and a big motivating factor and a huge goal is to retire my parents. And in my personal life, I think my personal goal, without like revealing too much, is just to be mentally stable. I suffer a lot with my mental health and I just want to reach inner peace. How do you handle copyrights and using art when doing collage type stuff? As long as it's transformative, you're under the umbrella of fair use. So if you're just taking a magazine page and ripping that out and gluing it into your zine and that's it, that's totally illegal. You can't really do that because it is copyright. But if you're making a transformative work and that magazine page, you collage with it and you cut it up and you make it something totally brand new, is unrecognizable from its original format, that's fair use. You're good to go. Your zine story, when and how you got into them. I got into zines back in 2017 when I was studying English creative writing at Cal State Long Beach. One of the requirements for being in that major is that you have to get your work published. I mean, not necessarily get it published, but you have to submit your work to literary magazines and anthologies and chapbooks. And I was doing okay in the online market. I was getting published on blogs and articles, but in the eyes of academia, that's not really official, you know? And there was a lot of elitism and it was just like really hoity-toity, and I felt really pressured to get published to impress these professors and people that were in my branch of study, and I wasn't. So I turned to zines to start publishing myself and never stopped. What do you like most about yourself? No one-word answers. I think this is largely due to the fact that I'm autistic and like I'm on the spectrum, so I never really get embarrassed. I do a lot of cringy things or a lot of embarrassing things and I don't notice it until way later because I haven't processed it yet. So one thing that I do to avoid exhausting myself throughout the day is I compartmentalize things that happen that need processing and process it way later, like way later than normal. Like it will be years later and then I think about an embarrassing moment or a moment where I should have been embarrassed and I'm like, ooh, I can't believe no one stopped me. I can't believe no one said anything. But then by the time that I realize that's embarrassing, so much time has passed that I'm like, I don't feel anything. So I truly don't feel embarrassment. I just do things and I think about it later. But in a way that's kind of a superpower to me. I really like that about myself because I don't really second guess myself a lot. I'm always in action, always doing something. And then I have this cool little thing where I'm like, okay, I'll process that later. And then sometimes later becomes never. Sometimes I just walk through life doing things and I'm like, I mean, if people like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't, but I don't really notice either way. Favorite comfort shows, I think I mentioned this earlier, but The Office and Curb Your Enthusiasm, I could watch that all day long. What do you like to eat? I am a corn dog girl. I love eating corn dogs. Wiener Schnitzel has really good ones, so does Sonic drive-thru or drive-in. But the best corn dog I've ever had is at this restaurant called Doghouse. And there's this rumor going around that they mix their batter with root beer, and I'm inclined to believe that because their corn dogs taste like nothing I've ever had in my entire life. They're so good. I love a corn dog. I love a really good corn dog. At what age did you take a liking to art? At the risk of sounding like a total asshole, I'm gonna say I was probably like 4 or 5. I don't know, just my whole life. When did you first know you wanted to be an artist? I think I was 12 when I knew what an artist was and knew I wanted to follow that path. Why you like Nic Cage so much? I explained this in my zine. Nic Cage is cool and you guys are just jealous, but long story short, I started liking him ironically because I was being a shithead and I thought it would be funny to say that I really liked him even though I didn't. But all my friends and family thought that it was a genuine interest. So when birthdays would come around or Christmas, like not even special occasions, just whenever they saw something Nic Cage out in the world, they would buy it for me as gifts. So I started getting a lot of Nic Cage gifts. And then I felt bad because I didn't really like him. So in order to alleviate that guilt, I started getting into him and learning more about him. And then it became a genuine interest over time. I like gaslit myself into being a Nic Cage fan. I just didn't want to hurt my loved ones' feelings by having them give me a gift and me be like, oh, just kidding, I was just joking, it's not a real interest. So in order to avoid that, I started learning more about Nic Cage, and then I was like, oh, I kind of like him. And that's so stupid, but that's why. What is the most fun aspect of your business / creating zines? The most fun for both parts, for creating zines and for running my own business, is the flexibility. I feel like all the retail jobs I had before did not give me the freedom to explore myself creatively or even introspectively, because I was going to work these 8-9 hour shifts, coming home exhausted, taking a nap, promising myself like, oh, in 2 hours or in 3 hours I'll work on my art, I'll work on my zines. And then it never happened because I was so tired. So I felt like, why am I wasting my time working for someone else, making myself exhausted and tired? I don't even have time to work on myself. So me being able to now be self-employed and have the freedom to create art whenever I want, I'm exhausted and I'm tired just like I was when I worked retail, but now all that energy is going into me. I'm not doing it for AMC, I'm not doing it for Target, I'm not doing it for Walmart or whoever else I used to work for. All of this is investing in this girl right here. How'd you find the courage to self-express? I think I'm fueled by trauma and spite. Like, I think all the bad things that have happened to me, like abuse or racism, I think all of that really motivates me to self-express because there's so many people that want me to shut up. People that have hurt me, people that hate me simply for being a woman of color, people that don't like me for whatever reason. They want me to be less visible, they want me to be small, they want me out of the way. And because of that, I'm so motivated to just be even louder and even more annoying and even more in your face. I love when people don't believe in me because it kind of gives me that fuel under my butt to be like, ooh, you'll see. You'll all see. But not even for them, it's for me. What do you like to do in your off time when you're not making zines / working? I really like to roller skate. I like to date. I love going out on dates. Things like that are really fun to me. And spending time with my family. Do you have any other sources of income other than art? If so, do you hope to do just art? I do have other streams of income, but they actually are all related to art. So I'm very lucky that I have my small shop and I have my freelance work, which is like people paying me to make zines or illustrations or designs for them. But I also have my wholesale orders. So there's a lot of shops that want to sell my art in their store. They buy in bulk and they get a discount because they're buying a lot more zines or t-shirts or keychains than anybody else, you know? Well, that's it. That's the video. Those were all the questions that I got. I don't know. I'm just sweating at this point. I feel like I get a little delusional when I get too hot. So I'm just like thinking about a lot of random stuff. Like I'm thinking about the Minions movie right now and the way they talk when they're like, I don't know, their language or whatever. That's what's going on in my brain. So I'm like, am I okay? What are symptoms of a heat stroke? Should I be concerned? Maybe I should turn the camera off. Yeah.